Most open source AI projects are junk drawers with a landing page. You clone the repo, lose half an hour to set up, watch the demo work once, and never open it again. I am tired of that. So I went looking for projects that do more than put a chat box on top of an API. Let's start with number 10. Number 10 is Graphify. You know that moment when you open an unfamiliar code base and have absolutely no idea where anything lives? You search for one function. That sends you into a service. The service depends on a database table. The table is mentioned in a document nobody has touched since 2023. 40 minutes later, you have 12 tabs open and somehow know less than when you started. Graphify maps the whole thing into a knowledge graph. You run /Graphify, and it looks at the code, documentation, SQL schemas, configuration files, and even supporting PDFs. Then it gives you a visual graph you can search and question. The code analysis is local and uses AST parsing instead of asking an LLM to guess what every file does. Connections are also labeled as extracted or inferred, which I appreciate. At least you can see when the tool reads something directly and when it connected the dots itself. Would I blindly trust the graph? No. Runtime behavior, hidden infrastructure, and undocumented business logic can still be missing. But for joining a new project or investigating a codebase that has outlived half the original team, this could save hours of wandering around. Use it when your coding agent keeps rediscovering the same architecture every time you start a new session. Number 9 is OpenAI's Codex plugin for Claude Code. I do not trust an agent to review its own code. That is not an insult to the model. Humans are terrible at reviewing their own work too. Once you have committed to an approach, your brain starts defending it. This plugin lets you bring Codex into Claude Code as a second pair of eyes. You can ask Codex for a normal review, run an adversarial review focused on a risky decision, or hand off a task and leave it running in the background. The interesting part is the disagreement. Claude might choose an elegant abstraction. Codex might look at it and ask why you added 4 files to solve a 20-line problem. Or Codex might miss a requirement that Claude catches immediately. Neither model is automatically right. You still need tests and a definition of what done means. But I would rather see 2 independent attempts than watch one agent confidently approve the code it just wrote. Use this on large changes, unfamiliar code, security-sensitive work, or anything that makes you say, it probably works. Probably is where the bugs live. Number 8 is Agentic Awesome Skills. There are now skills for everything. Testing, deployment, security reviews, browser automation, copywriting, databases, design systems. The list keeps growing, and after a while, managing your agent's abilities starts to feel like managing another package ecosystem. Agentic Awesome Skills has a catalog of nearly 2,000 skills. Its AAS core tools let an agent search that catalog, choose a set of skills for a project, validate the selection, and save the result as something a human can inspect. That last part is why I included it. Without a system like this, skill selection happens inside a conversation and disappears with the conversation. 3 weeks later, nobody remembers why the agent used one workflow instead of another. AAS tries to make the choice reproducible. It is also very clear that parts of the project are still in preview. Search, inspection, composition, and planning are the safer parts. Applying and recovering changes remain experimental, so I would not turn it loose on my machine with permission to install everything it finds. That sounds like a fun way to spend Saturday rebuilding my environment. Use it when your agent stack is becoming too large to track manually, but keep a human between the plan and the install button. Number 7 is the AI website cloner template. Most AI website cloning demos cheat a little. They show you one desktop screenshot, one generated page, and none of the awkward parts. You do not see the mobile layout. You do not test the menus. Nobody asks whether the components make sense or if the page collapses the moment the text changes. This template is more methodical. You give it a URL and run /clone website. The agent inspects the original site, collects assets and design tokens, writes specifications for the components, and sends different sections to parallel builders. That process is much more interesting than look at this screenshot and make something similar. There is an uncomfortable part, though. Being able to copy a website does not mean you are allowed to copy it. Use this for a site you own, an authorized migration, an internal prototype, or design practice. Do not lift someone's branding, copy, and assets, then call it inspiration. We all know what happened, and even with permission, check the result. A close visual match can still have broken accessibility, messy components, and interactions that only pretend to work. Number 6 is DeepSeek-Reasonix. This one is for the people who look at an AI bill and immediately want to know where every token went. Reasonix is a terminal coding agent built around prefix cache stability. In plain English, it tries to keep the stable parts of a long session unchanged so the provider can reuse them instead of charging you to process the same context again. It also cleans up stale tool output before compacting the conversation. You can configure providers, tools, and plugins, or split planning and execution between two models. The whole thing ships as a single Go binary. I like the thinking behind this project. Long-running agents should care about what stays in context, what gets removed, and what keeps getting billed again. Still, this is not the tool I would hand to someone who wants a polished assistant and zero configuration. Reasonix exposes the machinery. That is the appeal, but it is also homework. Use it if your agents run for long sessions and you care about controlling cost and context. If you never inspect a config file unless something is on fire, you may hate it. Number 5 is OmniRoute. Nothing kills the mood like hitting a model limit in the middle of a coding session. You are finally making progress. The agent understands the project. Then the provider slows down, rejects the request, or tells you to come back tomorrow. OmniRoute sits between your AI tool and a large collection of models and providers. It gives you one compatible endpoint, tracks quotas, and can move a request to another provider when the first one is unavailable. It works with Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, OpenCode, Klein, and similar tools. This sounds wonderful until you think about it for another 30 seconds. Different models do not behave the same way. A fallback can produce different code, ignore an instruction the first model followed, or send your prompt through a provider with different privacy rules. Context compression can also save tokens while quietly removing the one detail the model needed. So I would configure OmniRoute deliberately. Pick the providers you trust. Decide what data they can receive. Test what happens during a fallback before relying on it. Use it if quotas and provider failures regularly interrupt your work. Do not treat automatic as another word for safe. Number 4 is Orca. I think using one coding agent at a time is going to feel weird sooner than people expect. Right now, most of us give one agent a task and wait. If it chooses a bad approach, we correct it or start over. Orca lets you run Codex, Claude Code, OpenCode, or Pi side by side. Each agent gets an isolated Git worktree, and you can give the same task to several of them, compare what they build, and merge the version you prefer. There's even a mobile companion for checking progress and sending follow-up instructions. I rolled my eyes at the phone part at first. Then I remembered how many times I have stayed near a laptop because an agent was almost done. The weakness is your prompt. If the task is vague, 5 agents give you 5 different misunderstandings. Now you have spent more money and created a judging contest for yourself. Parallel agents make sense when the work can be separated or when you genuinely want competing solutions. They do not rescue a confused specification. Use Orca after you know what success looks like. Number 3 is QwenPaw. Most personal AI assistants have the memory of a goldfish and the privacy policy of a landlord. QwenPaw is trying to solve both problems. You can run it on your own machine or in the cloud. It can connect to multiple chat apps, use skills and plugins, run scheduled tasks, work with documents, help with code, and remember information across sessions. Its memory is stored as readable markdown rather than buried inside a system you cannot inspect. It also supports local QwenPaw models, Ollama, LM Studio, and several cloud providers. I can see the appeal. One assistant, reachable from the apps you already use, with enough memory to stop asking who you are every morning. I can also see how badly this could go if you hand it access to everything on day one. An assistant with files, memory, tools, chat accounts, and scheduled tasks is useful because it has reach. That same reach makes mistakes expensive. Run it locally if privacy matters. Start with narrow permissions. Check what it remembers, because never forgets sounds much less charming when it saves the wrong thing. Number 2 is vibe trading. And I have mixed feelings about this one. Vibe trading lets you describe a financial question in normal language and turn it into a runnable analysis. It can load market data, generate a strategy, backtest it, create a report, export indicators, and remember earlier research. You can ask it to test a moving average strategy on a stock, study momentum, or run a bull versus bear debate with multiple agents. That is impressive. It is also exactly the sort of tool that could make a bad idea look intelligent. Backtests are easy to abuse. Change the dates, change the assets, keep adjusting the rules until the chart turns green. Forget fees, slippage, taxes, and the fact that markets do not care how nice your report looks. AI makes it possible to do all of that much faster. I would use vibe trading to explore an idea, document research, and look for reasons I might be wrong. I would not connect it to real money and go make coffee. And yes, I know people will disagree. So tell me in the comments, are AI trading agents legitimate research tools, or are they slot machines for people who know Python? Number 1 is AI job search. This is the one I kept thinking about after I closed GitHub. Job hunting is miserable in a very specific way. You spend hours proving that you are excited about companies you discovered that morning. You rewrite the same experience for different job descriptions. Then you stare at the cover letter and wonder if a human will ever read it. AI job search turns that mess into a structured workflow. It builds a candidate profile, searches supported job portals, evaluates fit, ranks openings, tailors your CV and cover letter, runs a second agent review, tracks results, and helps you prepare for interviews. The creator built it after losing his own job. According to the repository, he used the workflow for 69 tailored applications, reached 20 first interviews, signed a contract, and started working as an AI engineer. That story gives the project some weight. It was built by someone who needed it, not someone looking for a weekend demo. There are limits. The included job portal tools lean toward Denmark, so people elsewhere will need to adapt the search layer. More importantly, you cannot let the agent invent skills, exaggerate experience, or turn you into a polite corporate ghost. A cover letter should still sound like the person who will walk into the interview. Use AI to handle the repetition. Keep the judgment, the truth, and the final edit for yourself. That is my list. I do not care how impressive an AI tool looks in a demo anymore. I want to know what annoying part of my life disappears after I install it. Which one did I rank too high, and which repo should have been number 1?